Did you see the governor went to get a lot of religion over the weekend? 4 different churches he went to on Sunday, and he used the chance to preach from the pulpit about Medicaid expansion and pressuring lawmakers to support his veto.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on that? Anyone take his lead, start doing some tours of churches and stumping with political speech?
I think it's hilarious, actually. First of all, the leftist media are the first ones to jump up and down and scream separation of church and state. And I walk in a church and I talk about the gospel and loving your neighbor and unity and bringing people together, and talk about the Bible, and they just hammer me on it. And the governor goes in churches and talks about Medicaid expansion and purely political speech, and they praise him for it. So, as I've said before, if they didn't have a double standard, they wouldn't have one. So, it is what it is. That's just kind of the world we live in today. But, yeah, I found that pretty ironic.
I'm old enough to remember when people were very upset at you for having a Bible camp in Black Mountain, very concerned about what you were doing with people and God and Christianity and such. Maybe there was some concern about IRS status and tax exempt status, which I notice is absent in any of the. That story, by the way, is just completely gone away. No, but there was one story in the Fayetteville Observer by Paul Wolverton, and then that's it, nothing else. And and your story, I found multiple stories about your Bible retreat that you do every year. It's just I saw there was a quote from Carter Wren who said the fact that you had been doing this and nobody knew indicates that it wasn't a political event. Yet it's treated as this. Yet the governor goes to 4 churches in a blatantly political event, and there's just nothing. It's just into the ether after one story.
Well, I mean, that's just it just what it tells your listeners, Pete, is really what we're up against, especially as conservatives in this country. You have a media that's amazingly hypocritical, and as I said, has a complete double standard on these things. But not only that. It's impossible to find a positive article written about a conservative Republican in North Carolina. You just won't find one. You can go back and scour the papers and the news media for the last 10 years in our state, and you're not going to find a positive article. You'll find plenty of positive articles on, the progressive left, but you're not going to find any related to us. Not 1, 0. You won't find one on me. You won't find one on McCrory. You won't find one on Tillis. You won't find one on Burr. Any of these folks. So. I mean, the reality is that's just the way it is. That's what we're up against. And I think that, your listeners need to know that because that's the way the game is played.